James Cameron has made some of my personal favorite movies. In fact, when I think of movies like Aliens and Terminator 2, they're like all timers for me. And there isn't a single film in his filmography that I dislike. Well, there is Piranha 2, but I'll be honest, I kind of like that one as well. And so, coming on the heels of making Terminator in 1984 and Aliens in 1986, Cameron was in a sweet place in the film industry. He was known and had some capital to make something more of his choosing. And as a result, he turned to a project based on an idea and short story he wrote while in high school, and that turned into the film The Abyss. I saw The Abyss in the theaters in 1989, and then I went again when there was a special edition that was released in a limited capacity. I love this movie. I love the special edition more. I couldn't wait to get it when it came in on DVD. And what's interesting to me is that The Abyss is not a film of Cameron's that a lot of people discuss on a regular basis. In fact, as of this recording, I had a really hard time finding a good like HD quality version of it, and sadly, I watched like a 4:3 version of The Abyss on Amazon Prime. Word on the street, though, is that we will have a 4K version sometime in this year of 2023. But let's talk about this movie. Personally, I love it. I know it's not for everyone, but I feel like with, things like underwater UAPs and still a threat of nuclear war, The Abyss is still compelling stuff. And the story's good. I mean, think of the setup for a minute. A submarine sinks. It's in the possession of nuclear weaponry, which a deep sea rig is tasked with retrieving without their full knowledge. The military is obviously involved, led by one of my favorites, Michael Biehn. The two leads, Ed Harris is Bud and Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio's Lindsay, they have excellent chemistry, whether they hate each other or love each other. And the setting, my God, the setting is claustrophobic and beautifully photographed and realized. And I know we have Avatar out there, but there's something about the Abyss's underwater world that I love. It's wondrous and at the same time terrifying. In the film, as the story plays out, there's several like set pieces or sequences that really, in terms of just filmmaking power, demand some respect. I think the first is when the cable crane detaches and almost destroys the rig and then starts to pull them down into the abyss. I think the tension in that sequence is wonderful. There's something, for me, there's something about drowning that terrifies me. And then you put on top of that, like this, there's no way out and you're trapped and you're drowning. That's not helpful for me at all. And the tension of that sequence is wonderful. And I think another sequence is when Bud tries to get to Coffee, played by Michael Biehn, and stop him from detonating the nuke. There's fear, there's tension, there's a fight, there's a chase. It's overwhelming in several ways, and it's sustained tension over many minutes. The filmmaking, from the use of camera angles, the use of the like this underwater set that they had designed. There's just so many things done within that sequence that is so masterfully done that I can't really recall directors that seem to have the ability that Cameron does to control so many different aspects or moving parts of a scene or sequence or in total a film. Cameron's really gifted at that. And that whole attempt to stop Coffee and then what happens after, all the way to what happens to Lindsay, one of the most like gripping scenes is, of course, when they have to make a decision like, do I drown and you try to save me? Oh, it's gut-wrenching stuff and really good. Obviously, there's the aliens. Do we call them that? I guess so. The aliens provide this wonder to the film, to the abyss, and the water tentacle sequence is still pretty cool. And of course, in the world of special effects, it was groundbreaking too. And while I think Cameron struggles at times with heavy-handed messaging, I'll be honest, I still enjoy and appreciate the message of the film. I never, at least when I watched it recently, I never caught myself rolling my eyes at what the aliens have to communicate. James Cameron obviously cares deeply about humanity and how humanity carries this capacity to hurt one another in the environment. The Abyss deals with this theme, as does Avatar. And personally, I think The Abyss is special. It's something that has had a far greater influence on film than I think some people realize. And I actually also think this is one of his better films. There are other films of Cameron's that I like more, but I can't help but admit that I think The Abyss is a special film. And it's worth your time if you've never seen it. It's an overlooked and a late 1980s classic.